Here we go. Well, it's good they're having their pellets, so they can't be that strimped. Nom 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 nom. Come on in, Palin. How's it going? How's it doing? Oh, I just felt the tiniest graze of teeth there. Gerry getting excited for him pellets. Good morning, Minion. Good morning, Annie. Good morning, Mazaira. One little hand on my leg. Good morning, Boba and Rodney and Rob and Ravane. I did have a very lovely holiday. We got back yesterday and picked up the bunnies on the way. Feels like it's been so long. I guess I didn't really get to do bunny streams the week before, so it has been a while. Good morning, Max. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Monmouth and Rupert. David, thank you very much for the 18 months. Good morning. Morning, Joe. I was worried. I suddenly thought, like, oh, are the bunnies going to be a bit funny today? Because sometimes it can take them a couple of days to adjust to being home, but they seem to be okay. Gerry did a binky last night. I was saying night night to the bunnies, and I gave him a little cuddle and a little kiss, and he did a binky, and I was like, oh. But they seem to like the boarding place that we found, which is a relief, because she's good at sending photos of them as well. Because there was one place that good morning, Empty Boot. Due to the tragedy of being employed, it's literally been 2 years since I caught a morning bun stream. Oh my gosh. Good morning, Emma. Your holiday looked lovely. Oh, it was so nice. We had like a bit of a rainy day on the first day, which meant that I accidentally sort of crammed a lot into the 2 other days. So I did sort of march us round a bit. Poor Alex was there and like, oh, I thought this was going to be a relaxing holiday, but we did like, what was it, like 25,000 steps on Wednesday, and that wasn't even the walk day. We did a big walk day on Tuesday, and then Wednesday was just the going around to see the things we hadn't seen yet that I wanted to see. Ended up doing so many steps. So morning, Pebble. So yeah, I think overall we averaged doing about like, I don't know, like 10 miles of walking a day, maybe more. It is very hot. We were very lucky with the weather actually, because and we did have that sort of rainy-ish day on the Monday, but other than that it was cloudy, because the day we left yesterday it was starting to get really hot, and I think if it had have been that hot on the days when we wanted to get stuff done, we just wouldn't have been able to go because it was too much. But yeah, we stayed in near Tintagel, and I sort of lucked out because I took 2 books with me that I was just sort of drawn to. One of them because I'd seen the author give a talk, but I only saw her because she was giving a talk with another author whose books I had read. And then when I got that book, a Waterstones email suggested another book, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'll take these 2 on holiday. And it turned out that one of them was set in Cornwall and mentioned Tintagel, and the other one was literally set in Tintagel. And on the day that we left Tintagel, the character moves away from Tintagel. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so weirdly timed. Walnut, thank you very much for the 28 months. Thank you. So yeah, I somehow accidentally chose my holiday reading to be very, very apt for this particular holiday. Happy little coinky dink it was. You can see that Gerry's malt line is in absolute chaos at the moment. I can't really tell where malt begins and where Summer Floof, his actual coat, has taken over. But it's in there somewhere. Malt line, yes. Very much. Good morning, Joan. I don't think I said good morning, Arno, either. Good morning, Arno. But yeah, I noticed when I was getting photos from the border lady that his top and his bottom malt lines had sort of met up. But yes, he's a scruffy little fella at the moment. Bless he. And then he'll probably finish molting just in time to start having his winter coat coming on. We love a scruffy boy, we do. Rob, oh my gosh, thank you very much for the 54 months. And at tier 2, that's like 100 years. My goodness, thank you. But yeah, we saw so much stuff, and we did. Okay, so I was very confused about everything that we did because I don't know much about Arthurian legend, and I didn't really know that it is entirely made up. Because part of me thought, like, it's just like, you know, like how people say that there was, you know, there was a guy. You've met Merlin, though? Yeah, see, this is what's confused me. I've literally worked with Merlin. And now people were saying he doesn't exist. The heck? But I just thought it was one of those things that, like, maybe there, you know, it was in a time where people didn't write things down and that there was a king called Arthur, and maybe it was just, you know, stories that spread. I didn't realise it was just entirely made up. And then we went to King Arthur's halls, and then we went to Tintagel Castle, which was supposedly his castle, but then was 2 different castles as well. And then and then it turned out that Tintagel, the place, was only actually named after the castle, like only like 100 years ago or something, just to avoid confusion with tourists coming to see the castle. So I was like, so the castle we've seen is made up, the town is made up, the stories behind it are like, is anything actually real? It has this weird feeling, like it's a lovely place, but it has this weird feeling of being like a town-sized theme park. I was like, I don't know what's real anymore. And then we went to see this really lovely, there's this place called St. Nectan's Glen. Good morning, Thomas. There's this place called St. Nectan's Glen, and it's really beautiful. But then when we left it, I was like, oh, I didn't even find out any information about what it was meant to be. I just thought, you know, it's really nice. And then we looked it up, and it was like, someone called St. Nectan might have lived here, but there's no proof they existed, and it's all made up. I was just like, what the heck? Have we seen anything that's real? If I were a wizard and everyone knew my name, they'd bother me all the time. This is true. They're just, maybe Merlin is real. They just want to, they just sort of change their name every few years. To release various British warlords kings who fought the Anglo-Saxons, even if none of them were called Arthur. See, this is what I thought. I thought, like, oh, maybe there's... Oh. Pug, thank you very much for the 18 months. 18 months of Bronchi. That's nearly a whole year. True. It do be like that. And Harpoon, thank you very much for the 41 months. Do you want another pilloot? Sort of accidentally covered it in fluff. There you go. He's up for round 2. The Pendragon surname is pretty badass surname. Honestly, good morning, Limewood. So the King Arthur's Halls is a really cool place, even if it turns out that, like, nothing is real. You go through the gift shop, and they sit you down in this hall, and one of you gets to sit on the throne. I sat on the throne, and there's all these like it's like there's like a little hall, and it has like big paintings all around the outside, and then this light display comes on, and then Merlin's voice comes out and starts telling you the story of Arthur, and then as he's talking, this like light will shine down onto the different like whatever painting is relevant to that part of the story. It's really well done. I really enjoyed it. But when they said like, oh, Merlin will come and tell you the story of Arthur, I thought it was going to be like a hologram. So I think I greatly overestimated the budget that they had to work with for it. But it was still really good. Chancellor, thank you very much for the 5 months. I hope you're doing good. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Cow. How we doing? But yeah, it was good. And it was sort of interesting. I feel like I could have watched the talk twice because I did lose track of like who, Galahad and Gawain and Gareth, all the G's. I got a little bit like, wait, Humst is Humst's son of Humst? And it, like, I know Gawain from the Green Knight. I've got a really good tuft here. Ooh. So I sort of knew of them. It does it does make me giggle that there was a Sir Gareth, because I don't know, to me Gareth sounds like quite a modern name. It would be like having Sir Darren or something. It's just, I don't know, I find that did make me giggle. But I'm currently reading a book about Morgan Le Fay, so that helped me to sort of understand part of the story, because I was just like, oh, but it was basically, imagine you're reading a book and then you go to a museum not really thinking about it, and then the first room of the museum is basically spoilers for the entire book. I did feel a little bit like, oops. I sort of know exactly what's about to happen now. Because yeah, truth be told, I didn't really know anything. The stuff I did know about Arthurian legend was all pretty much from Monty Python. That was where I recognized like most of the names from. So yeah. I was doing a fantasy series because the American author named The Dark and Moody Prince Darren. I mean, it's a bit like having what's his name? Paul Atreides, where you've got this big fantasy world or this big sci-fi world with all these confusing, so many different names, and then you've just got Paul. It's but in a way it helps, because Paul is the only name I really remember. I don't really remember anything about that film, though, to be honest. But yeah, I've collected this so far. I've got so much Gerry. So much Gerry. The real story of Sir not appearing in this film is much less entertaining than in Monty Python. Yeah. But yeah, I think I could have done with sitting in that little room again and just like hearing the story the second time round, just to sort of cement it in my head a bit more. But I'm sure I can look it up. But it is very interesting because, like, I guess it feels like we don't have much don't have much like folklore that, you know, in England. So it was interesting to hear about. Hello, my love. There's Alex. Good morning, Hansen. Good morning, Heng. So yeah, I did like it, even if it's all made up. Dave, thank you very much for the 42 months. Thank you, and a tier 2, blimey. Thank you. 84 months. But what was I gonna say? I feel like I realised when I was coming back from holiday that I feel a bit like, you know, the scene where Gandalf has come back, spoilers, and he's talking to the hobbits, and he's saying like, Gandalf, yes, they did used to call me that, didn't they? That's how it feels to come back to work after having been on holiday. I just have this feeling of like, Twitch, yes. Yes, I did used to stream on there, didn't I? It's all a bit, oh, do you want some more pellets? I'm surprised you didn't come over when you heard Gerry munching. Speak of the boy. Speak of that boy. I've given them too many pellets. I'll put some of these away. There you go. There you go. But overall, it was like it was a really nice holiday. The walk from, we did like a coastal walk, which, oh my gosh, it had so many steps. I was so done in by the time we got to Boscastle, because we went from just before Tintagel to Boscastle along the coastal path, and it took us like, how long did it take us? I don't know, like 3 hours or more. And it was like, morning, Cyan. It was just constantly like up and down. So every time you took a step down, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to take this step right back up again. It was beautiful though. And yeah, I was saying to Alex, I was like, do you reckon there's a save point and some medkits just before we get to Boscastle? But the reason I wanted to go there, like the whole reason that we planned this holiday was because Boscastle has a witchcraft museum, and that was what I wanted to go to. So we walked all the way there, and we got to go to the witchcraft museum, and that was very lovely. And got to learn about the Cornish cunning folk. And there was some stuff that was like really sad in there. Like there's this whole thing. I mean, I saw this in the Hertfordshire museum that I went to with Kirsty the other day. But there was this thing for like a charm where they would seal a cat into their walls because it was meant to ward off mice. And I was like, why don't you just have a cat? Surely that's better than having... Because obviously they would put a live cat in the walls and then the cat would die. And then it was meant to become... So there was all these like mummified cats that people had sealed up into walls. And I'm just like, just have a cat. That's going to ward off mice more than the ghost cat. Yeah, man in life, like, so there was that sort of stuff that, you know, it did make me very sad to see. And obviously there are other some such things, but overall it was very interesting. It was very like kinetic. Thank you very much for the 40 months. Hello. It was very like it basically came from a lot of different people's collections of things, and it did have some like more personal donations. There was, but it had like a very broad, there was no like focus on any thing in particular. It had like the beginning bit that you go into sort of has like bits about, witch representations in media, which is sort of the stuff that Kirsty was talking about how like how, all of a sudden one film would have like a Wizard of Oz had the witch be green because they thought like, oh, this will look very like interesting on screen, and then all of a sudden people will think, witches are green, but just because it can come from this one sort of pop culture reference. And there was other stuff like that, but then it did have some of the like historical stuff. They had like the ducking chair, and then it had some more local stuff because it had this like board that had all of the, well, like some of the witches who had been tried and executed in Cornwall had the names on the board. There was a lady there who was really excited because her name was on the board, and she was like, I wonder if this was my ancestor or something. The pirate accent came mostly from actor Errol Flynn popularising it, if I recall. Well, I assume that the pirate accent is because Blackbeard was from Bristol. So I just assumed that people assumed that Bristol was a pirate accent, because I guess he was one of the big guys. But whether that's why people chose to do it in films, I don't know. Old Edward. Famous Bristolians. And then it had other bits. There was one bit that was like a bit weird. That was about like blood stuff, which was a bit odd. But then the stuff that I did like was things that were just like people donating them, saying like, my grandma used to believe this and she always kept this, and it was like the sort of local folklore that I found really interesting. Some of it was a bit odd. There was one in Chef, like there was one thing that was like just a rock that was shaped like a willy, and it was just labelled as the cock rock, and it was like women who were trying to conceive would get handed this rock and they'd leave it under their pillow, and it was a good luck charm and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, how are you sleeping with this massive great blooming rock under your pillow? But yeah, that sort of stuff was the stuff that I did like to see. There was one bit that was quite an early version of the Dirt Man, yeah. There was one part that was about curses, and that I found really creepy. Like, it was very powerful because it was all these like I guess what people would call voodoo dolls, but it was like puppets and those sorts of things that people had like created because they were angry. And I guess like that sort of stuff, I guess because like a lot of witchcraft and those sorts of things, like the trials, a lot of it was to do with sort of trying to take away power from women. So seeing these things that people had obviously felt so desperate or so angry that they had thought, this is the only way I can sort of take back some control, is to create this thing. Because it would be like, here was a puppet that a lady had made of her husband to try and like keep him away from this affair he was having and stuff like that. And you must have just felt so powerless, and then just trying to take back that little bit of power. I did find it very, very moving. The stuff that I wasn't so keen on was the more like 60s, 70s era of stuff that they had that basically just seemed to be an excuse for a good old orgy. And a lot of that stuff I was a bit like, don't need to don't need to know so much about these sorts of things. Though I guess it is interesting still. That's history for you, yeah. It just had all these photos and it was like, here's this person and they were part of this cult thing. And I'm just like, yeah, why is everyone naked again? Just remind me. But yeah, but it's a really good museum. I recommend it. If anyone ever finds himself in Boscastle or in that area of Cornwall, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, it was nice sort of seeing all the bunnies are naked. It's true. It is true. They're not wearing their hats. But what else did we see? In one day we went round to see King Arthur's Halls, the castle and the glen. So that was why we ended up doing so much walking on that particular day. But it was really nice because there was like, we were just leaving the halls and we were talking about like, oh, should we go to the castle? Because the castle is quite expensive. And this couple were just leaving. That like I just heard this little voice. I was chatting to Alex. I was in a world of my own, and I just heard like, "Excuse me." And I turned around. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you're talking to me." And it was this couple who was saying that they'd already paid for the castle and they had a day ticket, but they were having to leave. And they were like, "Fifi." They were like, "Oh, do you want to just use our ticket and get in because it's so expensive?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." So we actually got into the castle for free because it's like £24 each otherwise. And there isn't much there. So yeah, I really wanted to like, because I was trying to say to them like, because they were like, "Are you definitely going to go?" And I was like, yeah, we're going to go. And I was thinking like, oh, I wish I had have taken their number or something so I could send them a photo and be like, "Look, we did go. Your ticket didn't go to waste." Morning, Alex. So yeah, it was really lovely of them. For some reason, I don't know what it is about Tintagel in particular, but it was like mostly German tourists. Like pretty much all of the people I heard talking for the whole of the holiday were speaking German. And I was like, I wonder why. I wonder what it is about Tintagel in particular that, because I hadn't really heard about Tintagel, to be honest. As a particular like destination of things, it was only because of the Witchcraft Museum that we ended up, well, because there's a vegan guest house in Tintagel, so that was why we ended up staying there and then doing the walk across. So yeah, but it was a very, very, Germans are all witches, all of them. My goodness, how are the seagulls? Funnily enough, I saw seagulls, never heard them when I was by the sea, and then we came back to Bristol and all of the seagulls are kicking off. And I was like, maybe all of you need a beach holiday. They need to get themselves to the sea, calm themselves down. Come on in, Jamie. In my climate history course, we were talking about the possible connection between the witch trials and the... Oh, yeah, see, I do feel like a lot of it was, yeah, they'd have like a failed harvest and they'd be like, well, it must be because witches. And then they would kill some witches and then, you know, they might have if they had a good harvest, they'd be like, well, that worked. And if they had a bad harvest, they'd be like, well, better kill some more witches. Like, I guess that's all they really had to go on. So yeah. I don't even live by the coast and every night I hear a bunch of seagulls. It really do be like that. The seagulls just kick off in Bristol all the time. I mean, I guess we're not really by the sea here. Not really. But the seagulls do like to be here. Screaming all the time. But yeah. Hello, Taki. I did survive Cornwall, I did. It was nice. Cynical part of me thinks those people always knew it was rubbish but use it as a means of control. Well, yeah, pretty much. I think that was what a lot of the witch trials were. It was just... Oh, sorry, I was just putting the pellets away because I thought you were done, bunnies. Go, Gerry boy. You decided you want a bit more? Just a bit more pellets? No, Fifi is done. A friend of mine is going down to Penzance today. Penzance is... I've only really been like through Penzance. I've never really stayed there. They get a lot of pirates down that way as well. But yeah, we when we stayed when we went to the Isle of Scilly, we stayed in Penzance the night before travelling over. Oh, Vivi, did he jump on you? I'm just gonna steal that. Thank you very much. Add it to my collection. I'm done with pellets now. You can have like a little bit of banana later. You can do. Tea. Currently waiting at Paddington for the train to Bristol. Looking forward to some long overdue ooey. Yay! Nice. Oh my gosh, that reminds me. I found there's this new place in Bristol called the Vegan Snob. And it looks really nice. It's got like sort of like Italian food. All looks really lovely. And then it seems like sort of reasonably priced as well. I mean, I've not ever... Well, it's the first time I've heard of it, so I don't know what the portions are like. Or the food. The only thing is, they have a side that is just peas. It's literally just peas. It's £6. £6 for peas. They have a side of mashed potato that's £5. And that's had more effort go into it than literally peas. I could not believe it. I was looking at it for so long. I said it to like 5 people, just being like, £6 for peas. And it got to the point where I was like, messaging my friend, and she was like, don't spend £6 on peas. I was like, I'm not going to spend £6 on peas. But then the longer that I looked at it, I was like, how good are these peas? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk myself into buying £6 peas, aren't I? But I was saying, like, do they come round and, like, feed them to you? Like, how do you justify so much for peas? Like, you can just go and buy a tin of peas. Just buy a tin of garden peas, and that's good peas. Good morning, potato. Can't stay, have a good show. Oh, thank you. I hope you have a good day. Content for the Patreon. I'm going to spend £6 of the good Patreon money. Next time I'm in Bristol, we'll try the peas as an experiment. They better be the best gosh darn peas. For £1 more, you can buy a tiramisu from the same place. And that's £6 for peas. I was flabbergasted. I was. Could not believe it. You get to dream about peas. I have a Somni Gastronomy dream that's like, I dreamt that I spent £6 on peas. Oh, I need to do my Somni Gastronomy now, because, what's it called? Kirsty has done hers now. So, I need to decide which recipe I'm going to do for Anyway, it makes sense. Yeah, I was saying, like, do they bring you like a bucket of peas? How many peas do you get for £6? See, this is the problem. Kirsty has done such a amazing job of her video. Like, I saw it when it was in its early stages. I've not seen the final thing. But I don't know how mine's gonna be so naff in comparison to hers because she's an art, and mine's just gonna be really bish bash bosh. She's set the bar too high. So yeah. Dear oh dear. Need to show her up and do a stop motion animation. Oh jeez. I'm gonna have to try and... You're both fantastic in your own right. Yeah, I'm just gonna... I think that I need to not even try to top her. Is that the word I'm trying to say? Brimley, thank you very much for the 37 buns. They do be buns. They do be buns. That's my decision. I'm not going to try to top Kirsty. I've decided. Let the declaration be known. He's so squishy on his ice pond. Tessa fanfic. But yeah, there's a couple of recipes that I think I'll the look of concern he gets when Fifi grooms him. What is it, Gerry? What is it? Oh, he's got really scrunchy toes as well. It's okay. I'm sure she's not gonna hump you. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. The guest house had a doggo as well, and 4 cats, though I only ever saw 2 of them. The reason it reminded me was they were saying that sometimes the dog does hump people. But he was so cute. He was called Jojo, and every morning they would bring him in after breakfast. The lady would be like, "Is there anything else you want for breakfast?" And I'd be like, "Can we please have our Jojo time?" And she'd be like, "Okay." And she'd bring in Jojo and we'd get to hang out with him a bit. But he was so lovely. And they took in 1 cat years ago. I think they said she was about 10, or her babies were about 10 now, so this was a while ago. But they took in this cat that turned out to be Progananat. So they gave all of the babies names that were just sort of not proper names, just identifying names. So there was one called Tippy, because he was all black, but he had a tiny little white tip on his tail and his toes. And then they were like, we didn't want to name them properly because we were going to like give them away to other homes, find homes for them. And then we ended up keeping them all. So now they just had this little cat called Tippy, and he would stand outside and he had one of those real like, you just hear him from the bedroom. Even though he could like get in at the back, he would stand at the front and be like, "Let me in." Oh, he was very sweet. I got a photo of him just looking up at the window like, but yeah, Jojo was very lovely. And then we got a lift from the people, because we just couldn't be bothered to deal with trains. So we got a lift from Tintagel to Bodmin Parkway on the last day, and they brought Jojo along with us. And I took so many photos of him in the car. But he was just a lovely little guy. I couldn't really tell you what what genre of dog he was. I think he had some sort of collie in him. He had quite a collie-ish face, but I think they said he was rescued from, I want to say Bulgaria. They said he was in a golden retriever specific rescue, but he was neither golden nor a golden retriever. They were like, we don't really know why he was there. But yeah, he was a lovely little guy. He would try to steal your bread. Well, no, he wouldn't really be trying to steal it. He would just give you a little look, and then he would look at the table, and you'd know that he would want the bread. Retrieves a dang thing. No, he ain't retrieved nothing. But yeah, he was very sweet. So yeah, it was just really nice, and the place itself was like so lovely. Like, I've never really stayed in a guest house before. We did one family holiday in a guest house when I was very little. I don't really remember it, but my goodness, like having a 3-course meal every night, and then, you know, coffee and your little chocolate. And then when we were travelling back to Bristol, I said to Alex, I was like, we're only going to have a 1-course meal tonight. What is this? We're such peasants now. Only 1 course. Morning, Ned. It was just, it was such luxury. Napoleon, thank you very much for the 37 months. He golden retrieveth and he golden taketh away. That he do. And like the breakfast in the morning, like they would, like you'd sit down and they would have like cereal and fruit and muesli and all of that stuff on the table. Oh, and just like freshly baked, like every morning, a freshly baked loaf of bread. But then there was also the option that you could have like pancakes or any components of a fully cooked breakfast and all of this stuff. So we'd end up having like about a 4-course breakfast as well every morning. We would literally spend like an hour having breakfast. And it reminded me of Rob and I talking the other day about how we want to live like fantasy peasants, because it always sounds so good. It was pretty much it was like being a hobbit. It was so good. I just moved out to my parents' guest house a few days ago, but this one you're talking about sounds so much fancier than mine, which doesn't even have plumbing. Oh my gosh, the only thing I could fault about the this wonderful guest house is that it had a carpeted bathroom, and that did freak me out a little bit because I don't think carpet belongs in a bathroom, and I was constantly scared about splashing water on the floor. But it was very lovely. Would recommend. Would go back. And we had the place to ourselves as well. But yeah, I think it's the fanciest I've ever felt. It's just being able to spend an hour eating breakfast and then being like, fetch me the dog, I wish to cuddle him. It was so good. So if anyone is ever down in that part of the country, I recommend staying there. It was very, very nice. And it was only like a little walk down to the beach, though we only went to the beach one day. We went to the beach on the very first day that we got there. And then we never managed to go again. But we did sort of talk about going down to the beach before we left. Or an actual beachy beach, like a sandy beach. No, there weren't really any fossils. It wasn't like, it was a strangely empty beach. Maybe we didn't go at the right time. Maybe because the tide was coming back in and you're meant to go hunting for things at low tide. But yeah, just sand. Just sand. And having, like, the last beach I went to was obviously Lyme Regis, where, you know, you can't move for ammonites a lot of the time. Or just like marbles and Victorian junk. So yeah, it was odd just seeing just just sand. But it was Trebarwith Strand was the beach that we went down to. I like looking for sea glass, yeah. I didn't have any luck this time, but I do like going down to the beach. I like going to Cornwall. Cornwall's just lovely. It's just a very lovely part of the country. And it was one of those really nice places where, like, literally everyone we saw in the little hamlet that we stayed in, everyone would say hello. Like, you'd just be walking along and everyone's just like, hello, good morning, hiya. You don't really get that in Bristol. The only time you get that is if you're in the woods and people are walking their dogs. Dog walkers will always say hello to you. But other than that, everyone pretty much like keeps to themselves. Oh, David, have a lovely day. Oh wait, you're on your way. Have a lovely ooey. Have a good ooey. I am jealous. Thank you for the follow. But yeah, it has been very lovely being away. And I just have to try and remember how to function again now. I just don't know if I can function without my 3-course dinner and a coffee with a chocolate afterwards. You know, I've learned to have certain standards over the last few days. Now they're not being met. No, it is all good. And my Jojo, I need my Jojo cuddles. Yeah. People are way more chatty in the forest of Oslo too. In the city centre, we've been described by foreigners as though we're mourning a national tragedy every day. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. We never got to have... Do you know, I did get to have one pasty. We went to the... I think we found the vegan snob, yeah. We went to St Nectan's Glen. I took my shoes off. I was like... I want to actually get my little feetsies into the glen, like because the lady did say like there are stepping stones, but you can just paddle around in it as well. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to be one with nature and I'm going to get my little feetsies in the water. And I did. And it was nice. And they were really cold and muddy afterwards and I had to put my socks back on because I hadn't been prepared. But I forgot what I was going to say. But it was nice. It was really cold. But they had a cafe there, and that was the only time that we had like an actual pasty in Cornwall, which I guess is what you're meant to do. But it was nice. Oh, and there were peacocks. £6 peas. Yeah, there were lovely peacocks, which we weren't expecting around there as well. But I think that's everything. I think I've told you about the entire holiday. And now I get to be one of those people who for the next few days, every time anyone says anything, I'm just like, well, when I was on holiday. When I walked my dog, I tried to smile at everyone I walked past. I had some old lady look at me and say, why are you smiling? You live in this shithole too. What? There were peahens. There were 3 peahens and 1 peacock. On my gap week. On my 4-day gap week that I took out. I travelled so much. Okay, let's give these bunnies their nana. Gerry. Fifi. Oh, thank you. All over my Jim Jams. bunnies. Bunny. The sound of humans eating so much, but bunny eating sounds are soothing. Honestly, the sound of bunnies eating hay is one of my favourite sounds. Their little munches. I wonder if I could get a really good mic and record the bunnies eating. I didn't record any dreams on my holiday, and I had so many dreams as well. But I can't remember any of them. I think because I was just like out the habit of recording them. There's a small cafe farm down in the south corner where you can ride camels at. Do you know, there's so many things around Tintagel that were like, there's a place called Camel Ford, and then there was like the Camelot Community Centre and all of this stuff. I was like, they really do have... I just wasn't sure what Fifi was doing. I was like, oh, is this why it ended up being called Camelot? Because there's just so much camel stuff. G-Volt, thank you very much for the 47 a month. There's also so many like trinket shops, like trinket and witchy shops, and I really wanted to like go into all of them. They had one, there's a shop called Witches in the Wilderness, and they did like tarot readings and like I've forgotten the other things they did. They had a medium and a other oracle thing, and I was really tempted to get one because it felt like as good a place as any, and I sort of talked myself into it and out of it several times and then never did. But oh my gosh, Kirsty would absolutely love it there. I was constantly sending her photos of shop fronts and being like, you would love this. There are like so many like crystal shops and witchy shops and stuff. It's so good. So good. Yeah, we went to the Witchcraft Museum. That was very good. And I did get something from the witchy shop as well, the Witches in the Wilderness one. But there's going to be one opening up in Bristol soon. Planners, that reminds me of that joke that's like, why is Derek Acora so easy to buy shirts for? Because he's a medium. But it's, yeah, there's going to be one opening up in Bristol next month, I think. That I've been following the progress of, so I wonder if that will have that sort of stuff too. But I got some soap. I got some soap from the shop. Because I was like, I'm going to try and support this cute little shop, because it was very lovely. Tea. Him's a loaf. And then magical soap, yeah. Blessed soap. Well, intention soap, I guess. It was New Moon soap. And I got one for Kim as well, because I wanted to thank her for looking after Fauna whilst we were away. But it was just so nice seeing so many like independent shops, because I guess like a lot of places they don't really have that anymore. I mean, it did still have some chains, like there was a Boots and a Premiere or whatever, but it was just nice seeing so many like so many independent shops, because I feel like those sorts of high street things are dying. I bet she didn't see him. No, I think Kim thinks that it's just a prank that we pull where we get her to, you know, change the water in this empty tank every day. But he is real. I saw him last night, actually. He was out. He was a bit, I guess because he's used to just having the place to himself for the best part of a week. He was suddenly like, oh, hello, you're here. The big people have returned. Oh, in case anyone didn't see, in the Discord... in announcements, because I know some people have them muted, but So fauna came from an accidental litter, and the people who had the accidental litter had, well, not the people, the hamsters, they somehow managed to have another accidental litter. So fauna now has brothers and sisters slash uncles and aunts, because it might have been a brother and a mum who had them. I don't know. It's all very, maybe cousins, maybe nieces and nephews. I can't really work out how it works. But if you donate £1, you can suggest names for the new little babies. So the rescue would very much appreciate if anyone could donate. I donated, it's £1 a name, but I donated £10 and suggested 4 names because I was like, there's 4 hamsters that they're naming at the moment, and I was like, I want to give them all a name so no one's left out. So yeah, if anyone wants to suggest a name, they would very much appreciate the donation. But it's in the announcements channel of the Discord with the information. What did I suggest? I wanted to suggest Jojo, but I didn't. I suggested tofu, crumble, pickle, and mochi, because they look like little round mochi balls. So yeah, those were my suggestions. Should I copy paste? Oh no, it's probably too much information to put, because it's got like the bank details and stuff. But if anyone's in the Discord, you can be hungry at the time. I'm always hungry. That's my secret. But yeah, budgies. It would be appreciated. Fujin Pennant. Lovely Fujin Pennant. Look at this EB little guy. I'm gonna get that tuft. I'm sorry, Gerry. I've been looking at it for too long now. Well, I guess it's time for me to head off. I hope you all didn't miss the bunnies too much, lovely as they are, as it was a whole week of not getting to see them. Didn't really get to see them last week very much either. But now the holiday is out the way, my main thing is going to be trying to plan what to do for this little guy's birthday. Because, oh, you didn't really get to see. Whilst on the day that they went to the, oh, you can't really tell. I did have a big tidy of their room on the day that they went to the border. So it's got a lot of space now for me to fill with stuff. I just have to think, what to get he? What to get he? But yeah, Twixing's birthday. Oh wait, oh no. Oh, shall we go to see Fizz Tea? Yeah. But I think I will do a charity thing for Gerry's birthday, because 10 years, you know, that's a reason to celebrate. I mean, he's always a reason to celebrate, but if anyone has any suggestions for like big things I could do for him's birthday, because it'll be Fifi's gotcha day 2 days before it as well, so we will have had her for I can't think, like 5 or 6 years now, I think. Oh no, that's the washing machine kicking off in the background. But yeah, well, everyone, look after yourselves and be good, and I shall speak to you all later. I'll see you for Stardew at 2 in a couple of hours. So yeah, be good, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. Any more words of wisdom, Gerry? Just be EB. If you are EB, go EB. Very, very true. Very wise words. I'm a very wise boy.
T. Get your little eyebrows. Bless you. Lovely little guy. Wise Banu he is. Right gone. Thank you.
Thank you, you three. Look after yourselves. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna go have a nap with Gerry now.
Bye bye. Boop.